I was halfway through a turkey sandwich, barefoot in my driveway, when I spotted a lean kid with a skateboarder's slouch climbing onto my Harley Davidson like he'd grown up in a biker gang. The engine didn't even sputter before the alarm blurred a high-pitched, GPS-linked, police priority wail I'd custom-installed after my neighbor's SUV got stolen last spring. This wasn't just any bike. It was a $60,000 beast, my retirement gift to myself, wired to be untouchable. I sprinted toward him, sandwich still in my mouth, as he twisted the throttle with the reckless swagger of someone who'd binged too many stunt videos. He froze, eyes wide like a deer in headlights, then toppled into my rose bushes, still straddling the Harley. The kid, Lucas, yelped like he'd been hit. Then came another scream, sharper, like a chainsaw hitting a nail. His mother, Karen. Karen wasn't her real name, probably something like Linda, but she'd introduced herself at the Pinewood HOA welcome meeting as Karen with a K, like it was a badge for her suburban reign. She ruled the HOA like a discount supervillain, churning out passive-aggressive newsletters, nitpicking lawn heights, and sending anonymous complaint emails that somehow always screamed her name. I'd kept her at arm's length for 6 months, but when her 17-year-old tried to hotwire my ride, all bets were off. She stormed over in flip-flops, clutching a crumpled designer soda can, her face a mix of poolside rage and maternal defense. "What did you do to my son?" she demanded. "He tried to steal my motorcycle." I shot back. "He's a child," she snapped. "He's 17 and committed a felony," I said. Karen blinked, buffering. "He thought it was abandoned. How's he supposed to know it's not a community decoration?" I stared, incredulous. "You're saying my Harley is neighborhood landscaping?" Her gaze flicked to Lucas, now mulch-covered and whining about his ankle. I wasn't buying it. Moved fast enough when I chased him, even kicking my side mirror as he fell. A $400 piece he'd pay for, one way or another. "You'll hear from my lawyer," Karen hissed. "And you'll hear from the cops," I replied, as red and blue lights lit up the street. Officer Thompson rolled up, fresh off his lunch break, and I gave him the rundown, pointing to the silent alarm's trigger lock. Karen shifted gears faster than a drag racer, going from attack dog to sobbing martyr, claiming Lucas was just confused by boyish curiosity. I pointed out the screwdriver he'd jammed into my ignition. "It's a phase," she insisted, clutching her fake pearls. Thompson raised an eyebrow, nodding at my Ring camera. "Got footage?" he asked. Karen went ghost white. The video showed everything. Lucas scoping my driveway, checking for witnesses, then making a beeline for the bike like it was a clearance sale. They didn't arrest him. First offense, minor, and Karen swore she'd handle it. Thompson handed me a case number and a look that said, "Good luck." The next morning, a handwritten note was taped to my mailbox. "We, the undersigned, find your motorcycle an eyesore and a danger to our children. Remove it within 72 hours or face escalation." Karen's name led the list of 5 signatures. I laughed so hard I startled the neighbor's dog. She wasn't just defending Lucas. She was rewriting the story, painting me as the reckless biker endangering Pinewood's youth. Game on. I turned my garage into a showroom, parking the Harley inside with a vintage sign, "Community Safety Exhibit, Anti-Theft Tech Demo." I printed flyers on vehicle security, leaving them stacked for neighbors. Nothing named Karen or Lucas, but the message was clear. She lost it. Complaint emails flooded in, followed by an HOA citation for noise violations, despite my bike being silent for weeks. I documented everything: screenshots, timestamps, recordings, building a file labeled Karen's debacle. Here's the thing, I'm not just a biker. I'm a security systems consultant. The Harley was my indulgence, tricked out with tracking chips, backup batteries, and a direct line to the precinct. I designed it to be unstealable because, in my world, if it can be taken, it will be. Karen didn't know she was poking a bear who read HOA bylaws for fun and had more cameras than a reality show set. Her next move was a claim on my insurance, alleging Lucas's ankle injury was my fault for negligently parking my bike. 2 suits from the insurance company showed up, clipboards in hand, looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. I walked them to the flower bed where Lucas flopped, pointing out the lack of tire tracks. He walked into my yard, tried to steal my bike, fell, and now I'm liable because I didn't pave my driveway in bubble wrap? The older suit sighed. "It's an unusual claim. She says it's about unsafe vehicle storage in a pedestrian area. I laughed. My driveway. He nodded, taking photos. Before leaving, he warned me to check my policy for weird HOA clauses. That night, I found it on page 14 of the bylaws, in font so small it needed a magnifying glass. Visible vehicles not in motion must be registered with the community log and declared under liability indemnity. Guess who chaired the subcommittee that added it? Karen. I registered the Harley and my backup Vespa, citing them as community security demonstration tools under the same loophole Karen used for her wine tastings. Then I requested HOA meeting time for a youth crime prevention presentation. Karen called me, voice dripping with fake sweetness. Your presentation isn't necessary. The situation's resolved. I smirked. Is it? I thought Lucas was still limping. She hung up. Then came her next salvo. A letter from the Pinewood Youth Accountability Task Force. Karen and her yoga pal, Lisa, accusing me of emotionally targeting Lucas with my cameras and signs. It claimed my security setup created an unsafe psychological environment. I choked on my coffee but didn't underestimate her. Karen was waging war by paper cuts, hoping to wear me down. She'd picked the wrong guy. I drafted a 10-page response citing bylaws, surveillance laws, and a notarized affidavit from Thompson about the theft attempt. I invited Karen to my next safety workshop, complete with Donuts No One Resists free donuts. Then whispers started. Nancy, the neighborhood gossip, said Lucas was expelled from school after the board reviewed my footage and found he'd vandalized a locker and bragged about wrecking some guy's bike. Karen had tried to suppress the video. It backfired spectacularly. The neighborhood split, some thanked me quietly, others avoided me like I was toxic. Karen hosted a youth forgiveness circle, with lawn signs screaming kids deserve grace and stop weaponizing mistakes. I stayed silent, waiting. In court, Karen's injunction to muzzle my cameras and bike displays flopped. My attorney, Sarah, laid out the evidence footage, photos, HOA compliance docs, even Karen's own voice threatening me on camera. The judge shut her down. I see a neighbor protecting his property, not harassment. Karen sat frozen, her martyr act crumbling, but she didn't stop. 3 letters appeared on my garage door and trash can, signed concerned neighbors, listing fake infractions, noise pollution, intimidating signage, provocative vehicle placement. Pure theater. Then, at my third safety workshop, a neighbor mentioned a new HOA resolution to ban visible recreational vehicles, fast-tracked by Karen. I went door to door with factual flyers, no accusations, just clarity. At the vote, Karen played the safety card. These vehicles invite trouble. I countered. This rule punishes legal property ownership. What's next? Banning bicycles. The motion passed by 3 votes. Karen beamed, but my Harley was now in my garage behind glass doors, exempt under an old bylaw she'd overlooked. The compliance officer checked, sighed, and left. Karen tried to repeal the exemption, but the board, tired of her drama, shut her down. Then, Officer Thompson dropped a bomb. Lucas wasn't just suspended, was expelled for multiple violations, including sharing my ring footage like a trophy. A reporter emailed me, sniffing a story about over-surveillance in Pinewood. Karen had already cried on camera, painting Lucas as a victim of my paranoia. I invited the reporter to my garage, showing the cameras, footage, and court docs with surgical calm. The segment aired as a choice or a vendetta, exposing Karen's lies next to Lucas's theft attempt. Online forums erupted, calling out her crocodile tears. The HOA board called an emergency meeting, suspending Karen's positions and repealing her vehicle ban. Her youth accountability group dissolved. Nancy whispered that Karen had enrolled Lucas in an online school and was staying with her sister. Then the kicker. Karen didn't own her house site, was in her ex's trust, making her HOA rolls invalid. Her entire reign motions, rules, all of it erased. Spring brought quiet to Pinewood. No more mailbox flyers, just swept sidewalks and trimmed hedges. But a realtor, Greg, showed up, claiming a tech buyer loved my security setup. Suspicious, I dug into Greg's ties to Karen's old newsletters. His client, Ryan, offered me a board position and a consulting stipend to back a new HOA vision. I saw through it. Karen was franchising her control from afar. Get out, I told them. This isn't a startup. It's a neighborhood. They left, tails tucked. Neighbors started stopping me, asking about cameras or thanking me. The HOA president, Mike, began running ideas by me. At the next meeting, I stood. I'd like to run. Gasps. Board chair. I clarified. Lisa choked on her water. I won. Months of dull meetings followed budgets, lawn debates, but Pinewood stayed peaceful. My garage sign now reads, "No kings, no czars, just neighbors." Karen's gone, but I keep my cameras on. People like her don't vanish. They wait.